Okay. Thank you very much again for coming to today's Latin class. And today is our seventh Latin class. As I have explained earlier, for the grammar, we're going to talk about the Latin perfect. Probably we mentioned a little bit earlier, and also future, sorry, and imperfect. Yes, yeah, these three things. And then for the reading, we're going to read an Old Latin inscription, which you have probably already seen. Wait a minute. Yes, this one. This is text we're going to read and make it a little bit. Wait a minute. Yes, this is a very very important Old Latin inscription called Senatus consultus der Bacchanalibus. And for the content, we can check it later. Yeah, so it's about it's a law. It's a gazette. Yeah, it's a law forbidding kind of how to say that a secret but kind of an illegal group activities. Yeah, and if you know some Greek, you will certainly recognize this word, Bacchus. It is so-called the wine god, right? Dionysus. Yeah, he's also called Bacchus. Yeah. Okay, so this is and yes, and then we can just start our grammar today. So here on the left side, you see a kind of a systematic description of the Latin verbal system, right? So here is tempus, right? Time, tense, and here is modus. So basically, this is a typical, how to say that? It's kind of a typical central or core Indo-European verbal system. So this is actually parallel. 就是时间和那个语气是平行的，就是它不会混起来，就是它是两个平行的。So this is actually parallel categories. So under the category tense, you have present and perfect tense. And for the modus, there are basically 3 or 4. Yes, so here you can see, this is the Latin, this is for the Latin verbal system. You have for modals, indicative, conjunctive, and imperative. But for the other languages, you know, for Greek and Sanskrit, we have also optative, right? It does not mean that Latin Latin possesses no optative. It means that in the traditional Latin grammar, the forms are classified into 3 categories. But inside, like conjunctive, the historical optative forms are hidden. 就是它只不过是一种语法学家的分类而已。其实呢，更早期的那个虚拟，就是起源式 optative，是隐藏在这个 conjunctive 里面的。那我们稍后可以看到，对，然后其实呢，不止 conjunctive，就是不止我刚才说的这种，就 not only what I mentioned that optative hidden in subjunctive, but also subjunctive hidden in future. So kind of reorganized system, yeah. And not only this, you will also notice that something's missing. In Latin, we only have present and perfect. but if you, yeah, and of course, I think all of you know there is aorist. So aorist is actually, again, hidden under the perfect stem. Okay, so kind of restructured system, verbal system, yeah. And today we're going to talk about imperfect, future, and perfect. But I'm not going to greater detail because there are a lot of different things. So for this, we can use a grammar by Michael Weiss. So here he first gives a very brief and basic introduction to Indo-European perfect. So PIE imperfect. PIE perfect. There's a very typical upload. So actually, PIE perfect. We have. You also have the how to say that, the structure or the formula or the pattern in LIF. You also find it in LIF. I can show you here. So we check the text. We check the dictionary LIF, right? And at the very beginning, you find the information on perfect. So this is, but it looks probably a little bit confusing. Yeah, but I will write it here. So actually, for perfect, we have a kind of a root called 10. So this is root. Root is 10. And how to build a perfect? You need a reduplication, right? So a perfect means that you need a reduplication, right? And then plus the root in O grade. And this is for the singular forms. Yeah, singular active. And again, for the plural, you have it here, third person plural. Again, you need a reduplication, but you need a 0 grade. So this is for a plural. I think most of you have already heard this before because I mentioned several times this pattern. Right? This is the basic perfect pattern in Indo-European languages, right? And then he gives, of course, an example. This is tetone, stretched, and this is else. Yeah, I'm not sure what it looked like in Sanskrit, but it's fine. Yeah. Okay. And then this one in Latin, the PIE perfect is continued by the reduplicated perfect. So actually, in Latin, we actually have in Latin we actually have two kinds of at least two kinds of perfect. The first one is the so-called reduplicated perfect, and the second one is the S perfect, which we will check later. Yeah. So the second one is called S perfect. Yeah. Okay. So as mentioned here, the reduplicated perfect continues the Proto-Indo-European perfect. So like pelk, you have pu, gi, yeah. But pay attention, the reduplication is a little bit different, because for perfect, the regular reduplication is actually e. This is what we expect. Yeah. So reduplication is actually in e. Again, here reduplication is in e. Yeah, this is very important. So reduplication originally in e. Yeah. Okay. But in Latin, it has some kind of innovation. 对，就是 就重叠音节的话，一般是要用 a 元音。然后呢，拉丁语其实和希腊语啊，梵语啊，其实一样，都有了一些创新，对吧？就把这个重叠音节的元音变掉了。So they change the vowel of the reduplication syllable. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. But sometimes it is preserved. Yeah. Like stare. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is some principles. Like if you have a I, U, O in the root, and then the reduplication syllable also has I, U, O. Yeah, so this is kind of Latin rules. Okay. And then probably the S perfect, wait a minute. The S perfect in Latin. So take a look. So Proto-Indo-European S aorist was formed in late Proto-Indo-European with the suffix S added to the lengthened air grade of the root that was maintained throughout the active singular and plural. Yeah. And this is continued in Latin as the so-called S perfect. Yeah. Okay. So take an example. This is a very this is a very important root in Indo-European languages. It's called veg. Yeah, and in Latin, it is vero. Yeah, vero. I carry, right? And for this, we have the perfect called vexi. But but pay attention. So in Latin. Vero, right? And the perfect is called vexi, yeah, right? But originally we have seen this is the S aorist, and it is aorist, so we would usually have an augment here, a augment. But in Latin, this augment is lost, yeah. And you will also see also in imperfect the augment is also lost. Yeah. 就是拉丁语它把这个表示过去的这种增音啊，就是词首增音都去掉了。我不知道为什么，但是这的确就是它自己的一种演变。然后这种词首增音的话，在词首增音，在土狗罗语当中也消失了，就是我们没有对，在拉丁语当中也消失了。但是呢，在梵语啊、希腊语啊当中都有。对。Okay. And then and this verb in Sanskrit it's called bhuh. Yeah. Also means carry. Yeah. And this veho is continued. You find it in English like vehicle, right? A vehicle, right? And this vehicle, this kre, probably you have some. I'm not sure if you remember this one. Yeah, this is of course English, right? It comes from originally the origin is Latin vech, right? And this kre actually goes back to I think to tro and means agent, so means actor, agent or actor. Yeah. So what is a vehicle? Vehicle means someone or something who carries. Yeah. 就是对吧？交通工具就是工具嘛，对吧？所以这个是kre，kro 是来自表示工具的一个词缀。Okay, and then you see this is corresponding Sanskrit form. It's called vaksham. So here you find several different how to say that? If we really compare the Sanskrit form, so this originally from Aorist, right? Originally from Aorist, but we can check the innovation of these forms. So one point is the augment. Augment is lost in Latin, right? And another point is the ending. The ending E, the ending, wait a minute. The ending E actually comes back from, goes back to the, sorry, goes back to the perfect and plus E, right? Okay. 我吃个润喉糖吧，不好意思。But the Sanskrit, it is regular Aorist. So it has the, how to say that? This is the secondary ending of Aorist, M, yeah, okay. So you can see the difference, right? Originally, historically, Latin lexi goes back to Aorist, but it has some innovation, 就是它有一些创新。哪一个创新呢？第一个是它把词首真音去掉了，第二个是它把那个结尾，换成完成式的结尾，就是这样的一个结尾。它已经放弃了那个 aorist 的结尾，因为真正的 aorist 的结尾的话是在梵语这个形式当中。So the perfect ending was adopted in Latin. And the original aorist ending is preserved in Sanskrit, so it is still aorist, right? Okay. And then there are other examples. We find it Dix, we find it Dixie, right? So take a look. This symbol, this is, we can talk about this, how to say that, conventions, yeah. So this one, symbol, this single, how to say that, this symbol, right? It means lautgesetzlich. Lautgesetzlich. So according to the sound change, sound law, yeah. But this one just means turns into, yeah, or becomes, right? Yeah. So develops into kind of develop into something. So it's not lautgesetzlich. Yes. So this is pay attention. So this symbol, yeah. And sometimes you can also use this one. You can also this one. This means becomes, develop, yeah, develop into, turn into, right? But this one has a very, how to say that? The basic meaning is actually lautgesetzlich, so according to the sound laws. Yeah. So it is regular sound laws. Regular sound laws. Pay attention, yeah, these two symbols. Yeah. Okay, and then this is the S. This is S, perfect in Latin. In Latin, there's another very productive perfect. It's called the verb perfect. Yeah. Okay. So this is the third. This is the third case, third kind. They're called the verb perfect. And this verb perfect, the origin is a little bit disputed. We cannot be sure what is the origin of this verb, but there are several theories, right? Okay, so let's first check the forms. So for this one, amor, I love, the perfect is called amavi, yeah, amavi. And for this one, gnosko, gnovi, and dokeo, and kui, yeah, and this u goes back to bhuh, just because. Oh yes, yeah, because before this bhuh, here is a consonant, so it changes into a u, yeah. So this is the semivowel, right? Okay, and then more vowel, you have more v, yeah. Okay. And this amo, I think I mentioned this word earlier. The etymology of amo, amare, love, is really tricky. It's really interesting. So love is actually cognate with the Sanskrit root and actually means kind of anpacken. In German, it's called anpacken. Take hold of, yeah, kind of take hold of with strong force, with force, right? And this word also can mean swear. It can also mean swear, yeah. Okay, but in Greek there's a word called amoios. Yeah. In Greek, there's a word called amoios, and this amoios actually means unlucky, yeah. Bad. Yeah. Okay, so this is a very tricky, interesting etymology. Yeah. Okay, amoios, unlucky, and love. Okay. So this verb perfect, you find a morpheme, verb morpheme. So this is a marker. This is a sign of this perfect verb morpheme. And this verb morpheme, as I said, we are not pretty. We are actually not pretty sure about its origin, and there are some theories. So all of the theory connects the verb perfect with the Sanskrit perfect. In Sanskrit, there's a special case. We can actually check the grammar by Gotor now. Wait a minute. So actually, in the grammar by Gotor, we find moment. We find the perfect system, right? And the regular forms, we can actually check it. I think he also mentions a lot of forms. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I think. Wait a minute. He mentioned. So here, this is the ending, right? So this is normal perfect. So Sanskrit perfect. The ending, Sanskrit perfect ending. Wait a minute. The first person is called R. Second person. So this is singular. Singular. Okay. And second person, sorry, ta. And third person also R. So we have, for example, chakara, right? Sorry, chakara. And this one is called, I forgot. This is chakar. Wait a minute. It's Chakasa. I'm not sure. Okay, and this one is called Chakara. Yeah. So you can. I think I can check it. I'm not sure. I think it's think it's correct, right? Okay. 哦，如果写错了，你们记得提醒我。OK， 有时候我也忘记了，对。OK。啊，什么？你觉得unlucky and bad？这个我不知道。我们其实怎么讲呢？这种词源的解释的话，很多这种语义的变化，你只能猜测，你也不能确定。但是很多时候，文科的东西也都是一些也都是可能性较大的猜想，对吧？所以我们也不妨可以 play with the meaning, yeah, play with words, yeah, OK。哎，过去等一下啊，我在找那个完成时的形式到底在第几章啊？在这里，已经看到了，对，Jakarta 对吧？应该没什么问题。对，就是我们看到它的形式，so actually you can see the forms are actually listed here. This is actually for most of the roots, but there's a special case. Check it here. This one. For the roots ending in a long vowel or a diphthong, you have the form called dadau. Yeah. So this is actually the regular form, but for roots like da and sta, we have the form called dadau, dadau, or tasthau. Yeah. So we have this special form. Okay. And according to our theory, that the how to say that? So according to our theory, the ending should be R, Sa, and R. So this is actually the regular ending. This is a regular ending. And we also have evidence for this ending from Greek, right? So for like this one, we have the Greek form, and we know it is actually this one, right? So this is ending. And for this one, we have the Greek form also in S, so we know, so this is pretty regular. But how can we explain this one? Oh, yeah. This owl is certainly not regular, right? Okay. And actually, Gotor has mentioned this form also in his grammar. The roots ending in R have in the first and third person singular active the form ao. So dadao, dadao, and so on. So this is special form. And he mentions he gives no explanation for this, which means it is disputed. 就是他没有给出解释，说明这个目前为止也没有特别让人信服的解释。And pay attention to this one. In Young Avestan, we have the form called daza or dada. Yeah. So we have the regular da form. So there's actually no R here. Yeah. Okay. So in order to explain this one, the scholars has connected the Sanskrit form with all with Latin so-called verb perfect. So they want to connect these two things. with Latin verb, with Latin verb perfect. So they think that this is kind of a special morpheme, and this morpheme is also found in Sanskrit. But it is actually difficult to explain, yeah, because the Greek form, the Sanskrit form are really isolated, and it is actually not supported by the Avestan evidence. So the logic is, if we assume Latin plus Sanskrit has the verb perfect, right? So if we assume Latin and Sanskrit contain or possess this verb perfect, and how can we explain this one? Because Latin and Sanskrit cannot be directly connected, right? 就是拉丁语和梵语是不能够直接连起来的，因为它们中间是经历过一个过程的，首先是 PIE， 对不对？ So first we have PIE, and then after PIE we have Italo-Celtic. So actually, at the very beginning we have PIE, right? And then, of course, we have Hittite and others. But the next stage, where Latin occurs, we have Italo-Celtic, right? And after Italo-Celtic, we have Indo-Iranian, yeah. And after Indo-Iranian, we have Iranian plus Indian, right? So 所以说，就是你不能够直接认为拉丁语和梵语是归在一起的，因为即便你要归在一起，那也是应该把梵语先和伊朗语归在一起，对不对？就是因为这两个关系是更密切的，对吧？所以这个是这个理论是有问题的 ，OK？ 就大家能明白这个逻辑吗？就是说我们不能说，哎，在拉丁语看到一个 verb， 然后呢，在梵语当中又看到一个 verb， 哎，所以这两个是可以归为同一类的，这在那个历史演变上面是说不清楚的。大家能明白这个逻辑吗？就是因为伊朗语就 this is young Avestan, this is this is young Avestan， yeah， 就是你如果想重构，对，就是我上面就是说的，就是在梵语当中啊，我们对于这两个词根，就对于这两个词根，其实还不止这两个，其实还有这个词根大，就是像这种末尾长音 r 结尾的，他们在构成完成时的时候，结尾非常奇怪，是一个 o 这样的结尾。然后呢，在拉丁语当中，我们也存在一个很特殊的一个 v 过去时v 完成时。那学者呢就看到，哎，这两个好像都有一个 o 在里面嘛，都有一个 v 在里面。这 o 一般是我们认为是 r 加一个 u 在里面，对吧？好，那我们就认为这个o 的话，很有可能和拉丁语的这个 verb 是有关系的，所以他们就重构出对于拉丁语和梵语的话，我们存在一个 verb perfect。那这种是逻辑上是不对的，为什么呢？因为我们在伊朗语当中是没有这种形式的，就你不能够直接跨拉丁和梵语来重构，因为呢，这个是有一个历史演变过程的，就是说，那个伊朗语和那个梵语，它首先是构成一个更密切的一个一个语言的group， 对吧？语言的一个群体，对。对，不是在末尾，对，它不是在末尾的，对啊，它不是在末尾，所以其实这个就算你想解释也有问题，对，对，大概是这样的一个问题，对。Okay, and then if we refuse, if we kind of refute this assumption, we need to we come to another assumption that So another assumption, namely this bhuh perfect is a Latin innovation. 就它是一个拉丁语自己的演变 ，so this is a special development in Latin. We don't have it in other places. And if V perfect is a Latin innovation, and we need to explain this, right? So why do we have this verb? So there are actually some explanations. I'm not sure if Michael Weiss has mentioned it here. Well, he just mentioned it. Check it. So this is why I said sometimes you need to be critical about everything, really. So this is the comment on by Michael Weiss. So actually, in the main text, he mentions the theory, which I just mentioned. Yeah, so this is a theory. Yes, yeah, you are pretty smart, right? So this is a theory put forward by Jasonov, right? You have it here. So this is a theory put forward by Jasonov. He just mentions a law, and according to his law, this form will develop into this form. Yeah, so this is so-called Jasonov law, right? But as I have talked about Jasonov earlier, so his theory is sometimes not that, how to say that, it's not that convincing. Yeah. 就是哈佛学派，就是Jasonov 之前的，还是比较靠谱的。就在 Jasonov 之前是一位叫那个约翰辛德勒的人，还有那个Calvert Watkins， 就是 Jasonov。So we are talking about some 我不知道这个应该用英语讲还是用中文讲，我还是用中文讲。Sorry, I have to say something in Chinese. This is something probably not very not very suitable for English. 就是哈佛学派呢，就是但这个不是but this is not really relevant to our Latin course. 就是这个是讲一些八卦时间了。OK， 就是哈佛学派呢，那现在最重要的就是Jasonov。然后他是那个哈佛语言学系的系主任，然后负责不仅负责那个印欧语，然后也负责General Linguistics， 所以他们语言学系的话，比较就做的比较杂一点，除了也有印欧方向的，也有像汉藏好像，还有日语啊什么之类的，就是他们把所有跟语言相关的都并到一起了，对，然后 Jasonov 的话，他是目前的系主任。然后他叫 Default Professor， 就美国的教习一般都是按照，就美国的教习教授很多都是有一个特殊的名字的，那这名字一般是像比如说大企业家赞助啊，或者是资源的赞助啊，所以他们就设立了一个某某教习然后这 Default 是一个非常有名的一个教习，对，然后呢他是现在的系主任。但是其实在之前呢，有几位是真的比较优秀的语言学家，一个叫那个 Calvert Watkins， 他是就是他是那个 Jasonov 的老师，然后他影响了还有一位叫那个约翰辛德勒，大家一看这个辛德勒就可以知道他是德国人嘛，然后是因为战争的原因去了美国。对，这两位是在哈佛历史上非常重要的人物然后这两位也是影响了北美的印欧语言学界， 然后像比如说那个Brent Wine 就是 UCLA 的老师啊，还有就是他们整个可以说最重要的2位人物，就是北美的英欧语言学派归为这2个人。那可惜现在那个 Jasonov 是真的在业界风评真的很不好，就是那很多理论就非常的 fantasy， 就是非常的天马行空，然后想到哪说到哪，就是不是非常靠谱。那 Michael Weiss 毕竟是在美国工作的嘛，那所以他在书里面是绝对不可能那个直接那个抨击 Jasonov 的，这是不可能的。对，所以呢，他在这里就提到了这种解释，就是so actually he used theory of Jasonov to connect the Sanskrit tasthau, dadau with the Latin perfect. But Michael Weiss mentions that this theory is actually not widely accepted. So let's probably read it. Yeah. So actually, there's someone called Senatus. I'm not sure if I pronounced correctly. So this is actually not a. So he is actually against the Indo-European perfect origin. So it means that this is the second assumption that the verb perfect is actually a Latin innovation. 就拉丁语自己造出来的。那怎么造出来的呢？那有一种解释就是说来自这个词，来自那个父 y。然后这个父 y 的话，就是我们最熟悉的那个英语就是我们最熟悉的那个梵语的 bhuh 这个词。那关于这个的解释呢，那我们其实可以看。So for this explanation, we can actually check the book by Gerhard Meiser. Yeah. So I can show you the which page. Wait a minute. Yes. So this is actually the explanation offered by Gerhard Meiser. So for Meiser, he mentions, so now comes the German reading class. Das U-Verb-Perfekt hat wahrscheinlich zwei unterschiedliche Quellen. 就是这个无 verb perfect 很有可能是有2个来源。那第一个来源呢 Verb ist zum einen aus dem uritalischen Perfect Paradigma der Wurzel bhuh， 就是这个梵语的这个 bhuh 这个词，就这个 wo 呢很有可能来自那个意大利语系perfect 形式bhuh 这个完成式，就 bhuh 这个词的完成式。好。那是怎么来的呢？大家想象一下，你既然是完成时嘛，那肯定要重叠，对不对 ？So this is perfect. You need a reduplication, right? So this reduplication, bhuh. So bhuh will turn actually into bhuh, and this bhuh will become a verb. Yeah. So bhuh will become a verb, and this verb. Yeah, and you have the verb here. So this is probably the reason. So this is one of the origins. Yeah. So from the perfect of bhuh comes the morpheme ver, and this morpheme ver is actually generalized. 就是在大家想象一下这个词，你把它重叠一下之后，不就会出现一个 f 这样的音吗？而这个 f 这样的音，它会变成 v， 而这个 v 的话，就慢慢就他们就不会把它他们就把它看成一个独立的一个音morpheme， 就是这个构成完成时的一个元素，然后把这个元素抽象出来，然后再用到其他的方面，所以这就是其中一种来源。那还有一种来源呢？他说下面一种来源就真的比较复杂了，我不确定我是不是能讲得清楚。就是这种来源呢是根据 Leaks 的还有来源，他是说呢是来自完成时的分词。然后完成时的分词当中，大家如果学梵语的话， 完成时的分词实际上是叫 vams， 对，然后或者叫那个 vas 等等之类的。所以完成时的分词是存在一个 v 的，然后根据这个分词的形式，然后慢慢抽象出一个 v 的这个元素。所以大致上是有这种两个假说。那我个人是倾向于可能是跟这个 v 这个词有关系，因为这个 v 这个词相当于是一个，大家想象一下，就有点类似一种助动词啊，或者是大家想象这种bhuh或者是be 动词啊，它很容易变成助动词嘛。然后这种词用的比较常用，对吧？然后所以它的形式可能会影响其他的一些形式。OK， 好吧，大概是这样的一个讲说。大家只要了解一下存在这种不同的解释就可以了。然后也可以顺便可以看出来，就是拉丁语的那个语法其实并没有那么简单，很多东西到现在也没有确定的解释。Okay, so this is basically for the perfect. I'm not sure if we can talk briefly about the future. Probably we can check a little bit. Yeah. So for the future or for the imperfect, yeah, for future we need to mention imperfect first, because in Latin, future and imperfect, they are actually connected. The forms are connected. So for the Latin imperfect, we usually have a special suffix. It's called bar suffix. Yeah. So in Latin imperfect, we have a special. Again, we have a special suffix. And again, this suffix is not found in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, there's no such bar, right? So what is the normal? What is the normal? What is the normal Indo-European? Sorry, Indo-European imperfect. What is the normal Indo-European imperfect? Imperfect is just the present form minus how to say that? So present form plus at the very beginning plus augment, right? And then at the end minus or use or plus secondary ending. So actually we need so how can we get an imperfect? You take a present form and then you put an augment before it, and at the end you use secondary ending. 就是英欧语当中，我们一般来讲怎么构成未完成时呢？就是你把一个现在时拿过来，因为未完成时事实上是表示过去正在进行的一个动作，对吧？那我们把一个现在时形式拿过来，然后呢，在前面加上一个表示过去的 augment， 那一般是表示 a 啊，或者是在梵语当中是 r 了，原来是 a， 在梵语当中变成 r， 然后呢，你在末尾把现在时的人称结尾换成过去的这种人称结尾。那现在时人称结尾和过去人称结尾有什么差别呢？Let's take an example. So this is actually present, right? And this is imperfect. So actually the difference is this one. So this is the difference. Wait a minute. Is it the case for Greek? Yes, it is also for the Greek. For Greek and Sanskrit. Basically, Greek and Sanskrit are pretty similar. Yes. So let's take this example. This is a present ending, right? T. And the imperfect ending is called t. And the only difference is this one, this e. And this e is a particle meaning. So this is the e. I'm not sure how can we call it. I think we can call it a particle, 就小品词。这是一个表示 现在，表示一种指示，表示一种现在的一种小品词，就是正在进行的事情，所以要加上一个 e， 就是这里。所以说我刚才想说的这个减，所以我为什么想刚才说在 minus 的意思就是把这个把这个表示现在的这个小品词去掉，然后我们就获得了一个表示过去的。Okay, so this is basically the normal imperfect. But in Latin, the imperfect is called amabam, monebam, legebam, faciebam, veniebam. So with a special b, with a special ba morpheme. And how can we have this? And again, in order to explain this, we need to use this form, this bhuh form. And this bhuh form, so according to some, this goes back to this fu ba. And still we have this r. So actually, imperfect in Latin has originally this r morpheme. And this r morpheme is put after the bhuh, this this bhuh verb, and then we would have a ba form. And based on the bhuh, we build other forms. 我用中文解释一下，就是未完成时它的标志其实在拉丁语当中是一个长音的 r， 然后这个长音的 r 呢，我们会发现在s 像这种最原始的词、最常见的词，我们往往可以看到它最基本、最原始的形式。那所以这种 s 这个词，它原来这个词根是 s， 对不对？然后你加上一个 r 之后 ，so actually original form， so the Zeichen or the marker, the marker is actually R morpheme. So this is the R morpheme. And for S, we just use S plus the R morpheme. And S between vowels become 就是 S 在两个元音中间会变成一个 这是一个拉丁语最重要，这是拉丁语一个非常重要的一个音变，对。Okay, so originally this is R, yeah, right? Okay, and this R is shortened before M. So this is another sound change, but it's not important here. But you know, this is the original form, era and era. And how can we explain this ba? Because we need to, we have another very frequent verb, bhuh. And this bhuh, if you have this fu and fu ba, and this is reduplication, right? I think this is a reduplication. Yes, this is a reduplication. And this fu plus this r, and it will become fu ba. And this fu and fu ba is kind of an example for other forms. 就是根据这个 fu 和 fu ba 这种模式，然后呢，拉丁语的其他动词模仿它，就构成阿妈阿妈吧。大家能明白吗？就这是一种非常典型的那个 analogy， 就是构成动词的时候非常，就是在形态学当中有非常多的analogy， 就是类比。对，大家能明白这个解释的逻辑在哪里？能明白吗？理解啊，好，虽然有点复杂，对吧？有点 complicated， 对吧？我理解，就是勉强能接受。OK， 好，就是大家明白一点，就是它的这个 R 是它的最重要的一个 morpheme， 一个元素。然后这个元素呢，我们可以在一个非常基本的词，就是 be 动词这里发现。然后其他这些动词为什么会有这个 be 呢？那是涉及到另外一个动词bhuh，而这个动词 bhuh 在构成这个 R imperfect 的时候会出现一个 bhuh fa 这种形式，或者 bhuh ba 这种形式，而这个 bhuh ba 进而变成一个模板，然后其他的动词也争相学习这样的模板，然后会变成这个。 好吧？大概就是这样，大家知道一个大致的逻辑就行了。反正知道，首先它一个根本的 morpheme 是一个 r， 然后呢存在 analogy 就可以了，存在一个类比的过程就可以了，好吧？大致就是这样。大家可以看到，拉丁语其实真的不简单的，就是你如果只是背形式太简单了。我告诉你这个 A B C D， 你把它背下来，这个太简单了。但是历史语言学家的任务不是告诉你，不是让你背形式，那不是历史语言学需要做的事情。历史语言学需要做的事情是解释为什么会有这种现象。对，大概就是这样。对，大概就是这样。对 OK， 好吧，那要不就先讲到这里，然后我们so we make a stop and then for the next part we continue reading， 就是我们休息一下，然后接下来 OK okay. So now let's begin the second part, the reading part. So this is, as you can see, this is a inscription, and the name is called Senatus consultum der Bacchanalibus. And you can find the very general introduction in the, I think I have sent you the some introduction, right? So this is an English introduction from the Brios New Pauli. So you can see this is an inscription in the 2nd century. This is I think I can make it a little bit bigger. Yeah. Yeah, so we first check the general introduction. So this is an inscription from the 2nd century BC. And the Latin word Bacchanal is used in the singular to designate a place of cult worship. So this is kind of a 就是仪式了 ，OK， 有一种宗教含义的。And then, as I said, this Bacchanal is of course based on the Bacchus, the god, the Greek god, Dionysus. So this is he has another name called Bacchus. This one is probably more familiar to some of you, Dionysus. Yeah. Okay. And this cult is actually forbidden by the Roman government, and it is also described by Livius. Yeah. So this is kind of a how do you say that? Put it. So kind of there's a conspiracy， 就是好像他们要谋划一个什么事情 of men and women who were initiated into Bacchanalia was accepted as testimony for several Roman and Italian Bacchanali in which orgiastic meetings were claimed to have taken place。就是这个组织，就是相当于有点类似那种什么邪恶组织啊，然后那个政府需要取缔啊，大概就是类似这种事情，对，好吧？那对于我们来讲的话，我也不是专门研究宗教的，那我们是看一下这个早期拉丁语的这个语言和我们所熟悉的经典的拉丁语的语言到底有什么差别。好，那我们还是那个继续就是直接开始看吧，就不要就少说。好，就是这里是那个 ，so this is a picture of the inscription, and here you find two versions, and the left column is the transcription of the inscription. The right column is the classical Latin version, and so we actually compare these two versions to see what is the difference between the Old Latin and the Classical Latin. And here, this is the German translation, but I will translate it into English, so it's fine. If you don't read German, it's also okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think we can start, and I put notes here, so we will take some notes. Yeah. Okay, so actually start from here. So this is actually the very beginning, but the first two letters are missing. So this is Marcus, right? So this originally it's Marcus, right? 就够大吗？我还需要再放大一点吗？我担心用手机看的朋友可能还是需要再大一点，对吧？你这样看 ，OK。然后这个是它的翻译放在这里，翻译我放大一点嘛，我认为可以放大一点 ，OK。对，我这个桌面虽然已经很大了，但是我要摆很多东西，就还是有点捉襟见肘了。对，把它往上推一点。对，我们可以，就是一开始其实是人名了，就是一开始是一些人名，所以不是非常困难。对 ，OK， so let's try to read the inscription. So first it is Marcus, so this is E, yeah, Marcus, yeah, and then L is is an abbreviation for a special for a name. So this is a very common name, Lucius. So usually you find the L only the first letter in inscription. 就这个名字非常常见，所以他们这样书写的时候就直接用一个 L 来代替，所以大家知道这是一个缩写，名字的缩写 Lucius。然后这个 F 呢，也是一个缩写，但它不是名字了，它是那个 Filius，就是拉丁语的那个Filius 儿子那个缩写。OK，and then again this S here is also a name called Spudius, yeah. And then the name called Posthumius. This is written in the full form, yeah. Posthumius, yeah. Posthumius again, okay. And then you this is Posthumius. And then L, Lucius, right? And F, Filius, son, yeah. Okay. So Filii actually, sorry, Lucii. This is genitive singular. It is actually F is Filius. Sorry. F is Filius. L is actually Lucius. But here we have a genitive form, Luci. It's actually son of Lucius, Zon des Lucius, right? Okay, and then we have finally a verb, a noun. Sorry, a substance. Senatus. This is cos. Cos is consul. Cos is consul. So actually, they specify the date by consul. 就是他们相当于用执政官的那个名字嘛，然后来规定，这个到底是某年某月，大概是某年就是什么时候，对，大概这样。OK， 这是一个罗马的一种传统。对，看不清楚吗？啊，这个背名的确是这个背名像素的确我承认不是很高，对，不，这像素不是很高，对，我看不清点。有个点啊 ，OK 啊，点看不清啊 ，OK， 我其实发到群里了嘛，你们那个稍后感兴趣的话可以看一看那个照片也可以。So this is cos is consul, and then senatum, yeah, so senatum, senatus, 这个叫什么？这个叫什么议院呢？我其实不是这个Senate。Senate， 我只知道它的德语，我不知道中文应该翻译成什么院，对，OK， and then consulum elunt. So we have here consulum 元老院吗？OK， 元老院 ，OK， so ，yes，Senate，yes，sen 就是这个是老人的意思，就是 Senatus，原来意思是老人的意思，年纪比较大的，对。OK，consulum，好，这个没什么问题。这个其实两个的差别是什么呢？我写出来，这个是在碑铭当中，大家看好，这是个 O， 对不对 ？consulum。OK， 然后这个呢，wait a minute。OK，然后这个呢，在classical Latin，叫什么呢？So this is Old Latin, right? And this is classical Latin, consuluerunt. Okay, so the only difference is this one. Yeah, put it here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So this is kind of a trivial difference, right? So consul in Old Latin is all, but in classical Latin is written as u. Yeah. Okay. And in the Latin dictionary, we usually use traditional. I mean, the Latin dictionary we use actually based on classical Latin, right? So if you check console, well, you can find it, but the meaning is different, right? Yeah, if you check console, so if you check this one, if you check console, the meaning is pretty weird, right? The meaning means console. It's English word console， 安慰，对吧？安慰人，对吧？这个显然不可能在这种情况下开始出现一个安慰，对吧？安慰元老院，对吧？这个太搞笑了，肯定不是这个意思，对不对？所以的话，这个就是我们读碑铭的时候，安慰元老院，对。这个让元老院感到舒服，对吧？我以为这个就不明显不能是这个意思，对不对？所以说读碑铭的时候，早期碑铭的时候，大家要注意，你直接查字典的话会出问题，就这个词不一定查得到，然后就算查得到的话，可能不是这个词什么？等一下，应该是这两个人，这两个就是有两个人嘛，一个是叫 Quintus Marcius，然后呢，他是 Lucius 的儿子，然后呢，还有另外一个人叫 Spudius Postumius，然后他呢也是 Lucius 的儿子，然后这两个人呢是当年的那个执政官，然后这年呢，这两个人执政的那年是那个公元前186年，这个意思。OK，能明白这个逻辑吗？对他俩应该是兄弟吧，我猜啊，我也是这么猜。就这两个人，Quintus Marcius 和 Spudius Postumius，这是两个人，而这两个人呢都是那个 Lucius 的儿子，然后这两个人同时当执政官的时候，是186年。OK， 好，行，那我们继续。好，那我们还是回到这个词，所以说so actually, if you want to check Old Latin words, you have to keep in mind what could be the classical Latin form. So actually, the classical Latin form is actually consulare. So consulare is pretty, yeah, kind of ask information, advice, consult, 对吧？这就是那个 consulting 就咨询这个词的来源，那个 consulere，yeah。OK， 所以呢，就是他们过去就是咨询那个元老院 consulerunt， 对吧 ？OK， 好，然后继续，我们继续看，然后咨询元老院，然后后面出现了又出现，然后是 October，这个是October，对吧？这个是这个应该是8月还是10月啊？10月，不好意思，这个是10月，对。然后但是它原来这个词是8的意思，对。就 October 这个词原来是他们我忘记是罗马的日历当中，原来是第8个月，然后它后面前面之后又加了2个月，所以就变成10月了，对。就原本这个词是8的意思，对吧？然后对，就是这个意思。OK， 然后那个这里有个 in， 大家看好这里中间单独有个 in， 这个 in 呢也是一个缩写，叫那个 nonis， 其实 nonis 我不是很确定到底是什么意思，它德语翻译成 nonen。我们来一起 check 一下这个 nonis 到底是什么。nonis 是 month 的意思。这有点这是第7个月的意思。第7个月，或者是等一下啊，第七就1个月的第7天，就是sorry. Okay, so this is another. So we have here n, right? N with a point here, and this n is again abbreviation, and this is state for nonis. So n is equals to nonis, and this nonis, if we check the dictionary, it means the 7th of the month. The 7th day of the month. And then the month is October. So the exact date is actually the 7th of October. And the year, we get the information of the year from these 2 persons, Quintus Marcius and Spurius Postumius. They both were consul, and this year is 186. Okay. And then apud, it is a very frequent word also in nowadays academic writing, right? 大家知道这个英语的 apud 在论文当中怎么用吗？就是如果大家去看英文的论文的话 so if you read English paper, you sometimes would find this word apud. And what is and how can we use this apud in the I'm not sure if we have the, and we can check, we probably can check the dictionary. Yeah. Output. So output. Yeah, so this is explanation here. So Latin output, let's check it. So like there's a sentence. So output means used in scholarly work to cite a reference at a second hand. Like Jones, output Smith means that the original source is Jones, but the author is relying on Smith for that reference. 就大家能明白这个意思吗？就说啊，就是我比如说想写怎么举例子呢？就是大家能明白这个 output 怎么用吗？就是在学术写作当中，就比如说你想引用一个人，你比如说想引用那个荷马，对吧？当然荷马这个例子可能不是很好，就最好是指同时代的一个人，对吧？就比如说你想引用鲁迅，但是呢你手边好吧，转引字大概是这样的意思，对，就比如说比如说我想引鲁迅，对不对？但是呢我手边没有鲁迅的直接的书，那我依照另外一个人的书，然后这个人的书里面引了鲁迅了，所以就相当于间接的引用一个人。对，所以说你如果说Jones output Smith 的意思就是说呢，你原来想说的是鲁迅，原来想说的是 Jones， 但是呢，你并不是直接查看 Jones 的书，就 Jones 的书你可能不在手边，但是你手边有一个 Smith 的书，所以你就相当于通过 Smith 这个人来引用 Jones， 大概是这个意思。对，能明白吧？就是这个在学术写作当中经常会用到。So this word is actually very is used in the academic scholarly works, in academic works. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's continue. Yeah. So we have upward, right? So upward originally means by the side of, at some place, by someone. Yeah. Okay, and then idem. Idem means temple. Yeah. Idem means temple. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So upward idem. So we have it here. So this is upward, right? Upward, and then idem. Yeah. Idem's here. And then I think it's yeah. And we have a stop here. Yeah. Right. Okay, by temple. Okay, and then let's continue. What is the name of the temple? The temple called Draenor. So let's move to the next line. So next line, we have the. So here is something interesting. Yeah. We have in the inscription Draenor, right? Draenor. 我还是写小写吧，可能大写看起来大家不是很舒服。对 ，so this is Old Latin version, and let's check the Classical Latin. The Classical Latin called Belloni. Yeah, Belloni. Yeah. So what is the difference here? This is also the word we encountered last time in the, how to say that? We have read an inscription called Draenor's inscription. I think you have some. So this is a Draenor's inscription, right? We have. Wait a minute. Yeah. I think you all, you probably remember this inscription, right? Called Draenor's inscription. This is a Draenor's inscription. Yeah, we have seen this before. Yeah, this is Draenor's inscription, and why it is called Draenor's inscription? Because in this inscription we have a word called Draenos, and the Draenos is actually the word called bene. Yeah, it's actually connected with the Italian word bene or bonus. Yeah, bonus. Yeah, it's called bonus and so on. Yeah, bene bonus. Yeah, and this the word actually correspond to classical Latin bhuh. Yeah. So actually, we know this is a song change from Old Latin to classical Latin. So this is a song change, regular song change. So we have duelonai, and in Latin, classical Latin is called bellonai. Okay, and then the next one, this is esca. Is also an abbreviation. Is short for scribendo. Yeah, scribendo. Yes, and then F. Yeah, RF, I think. Sorry, ADF. Is ARF, ADF? I'm not sure. I think this is ARF. It's really interesting, yeah. ARF, yeah. Look like the R, right? Yeah, this is ARF, yeah. This is RF, yeah. ARF, yeah. Okay, and then the classical Latin form is actually ad fuerunt, yeah, and this M is again abbreviation. This is M. This M is abbreviation for Marcus. It's also a very popular name. And then Claudi. Claudi is Claudius. Yeah. So you see here is a lot of names, and this MF again, this MF is the son of Marcus, Filius Marci. Yeah, Marcus Marci. Yeah, and then another name, Lucius, Valerius, and so on. So actually, you see here, there are actually a lot of names. And what did the persons, what have all these people done? 然后时上有个，我不是很确定，我需要去查一下，这个我需要去查一下。这个它转写成 RF， 然后这里它写成那个 ADF， 对，我也觉得像 R， 对，可能是有个什么因为这个绿颜色的东西，大家看好 R 其实是这么写的，对吧？它其实理论上讲的话，应该是一个 R， 就因为这上面像个 P， 对吧？像一个 P， 那这里有一笔，对吧？应该可能是 R， 对，可能又是什么特殊的音变什么之类的，我这个需要查一下，对。Okay, but anyway, 这里的内容 so actually the content, the stories, actually there are a lot of persons, right? So like Marcus Claudius, and he's the son of Marcus, and Lucius Valerius, and he's the son of Publius, and Quintus Micunius, and he's the son of Caius. So actually these persons, and they made a protocol, 就是他们做了一个 protocol 的话应该是做那个记录，就是做那个书写记录，大概是这样子。那个 at Fuerund, so they were at this, so at Fuli, so at Fuerund, 这个是那个那个刚才我们看到的那个词 fui, so this is a word for be. So they were toward, at means toward, in this place. So they were in the place of for writing, scribendo, scribo, yeah. 就是拉丁语简单的就是很多词其实你是可以猜出来什么意思的，对吧？就 scribendo， 你可能不知道这个具体的形式是什么，但是你这个 scribe， 对吧？你可以知道这是一个写，对吧？这其实是一个那个 gerund， 我不知道中文怎么翻译，那个就是 scribendo， this is a gerund, I think it's a gerund, okay, and at the Fuerund, if you can check the dictionary, okay, yeah, sum, yeah, so you can see this verb in Latin is actually suppletive. Yeah, this is from S, right? 动名词也可以翻译成动名词 right? Yeah, verbal noun. It's kind of verbal noun. Yeah. Okay, but verbal noun is too general. 就是不是 not absolutive， 不是独立式，它是一个verbal noun 动名词。但动名词的话是一个很宽泛的一个概念，对。Okay, so you can see this verb is suppletion, right? Suppletion. So we have suppletion here. Okay, and 好吧，那我们再读两句吧，再读两行。所以这些人呢，就是在他们是负责那个记录的，做记录 ，OK， 书写的。Okay, and then let's continue. There are a lot of names, and then comes the content, the important content. So de Bacchanalibus. So about this Bacchanalia, yeah, about this this cult, this 关于这个神秘组织隐藏的这个宗教活动啊，等等之类的。好，然后大家看好了，这里又出现 so pay attention. Here's also something interesting. So there, of course, is similar, right? So there is the same there, right? But the name Bacchanalibus, what is the difference? Bacchanalibus. And in real name, it's called Bacchanalibus. So take a look. So in Old Latin, geminated forms are not written. Yeah， 就是双写的话，它一般不会写，就是它就直接写一个单写。我看看后面应该还有例子。I think we can we find other examples in later text. So actually, the geminations not written in Old Latin. 就在古的拉丁语里面，这个双写的一般不写，辅音双写一般不写。那比如说大家继续看，比如说 accent， 对吧 ？Here is accent, but in Old Latin is accent with a simple s, right? So this word accent, and then valet, he will, yeah, once is also written as single l. So we know that in Old Latin, gemination is not written. Like accent is for accent, and valet is for valet. Okay, 所以就这个差别。Okay. So de Bacchanalibus, so about the Bacchanalia 宗教活动。Okay, religious activities, yeah. Okay, and then que a, we have it here. So que i, yeah, que, and que foiderate, foiderate. So now comes something a little bit different. So que in classical Latin is, so this is que, right? Okay. And in classical Latin, it's called qui, yeah. So qui is, and this is a relative pronoun, 就是关系代词 relative pronoun, who. But in Old Latin, it's called que, yeah, because it goes back actually to koi. With koi, you also find it actually in Sanskrit. This que is typical for relative pronouns. Yeah, who, which. Yeah, okay. And then we have another word called federate. Yeah, federate. If you, it's English federal, 联邦啊，大概是这样子。So foederate, yeah, right. But in Old Latin, in Classical Latin, it's foederati, yeah. So we actually have two difference here. Foi correspond to for a, right? And the ending, this is a, right? Again, this is a, and this is e, yeah. So you can see the difference. They are quite similar, right? 这个都是 so they are all plural. Yeah, okay. So they are all plural. 就是这个是主格复数，主格复数在拉丁语当中是写成一，然后这是一个长音的一 ，actually long 一 ，yeah. And oi becomes oe. Okay, and if we check it in the dictionary, yeah, the meaning, yeah. So kind of they are allied, they have treaty bond, federated 就相当于组成一个联盟啊，组成一个联邦，就是英语的那个 federal， federal 就是来自这个词，英语的federal 是来自这个词 ，OK， 所以这些人是那个 assent，so this person, these people are in a treaty， 就是他们是一个联盟的，就是关于这些人，关于这个Bacchanali 这个怎么讲呢？宗教活动或者是神秘活动，然后呢，他们是组成一个联盟的，大概是这样的一个意思。对 ，OK， 好吧。 那要不今天就这样，我也不是就其实也不是特别有意思的内容，但主要就是想给大家看一看那个古 Old Latin 和 Classical Latin 的差别。Okay, so I think this is for today, and I just want to show you the difference between Old Latin and Classical Latin. Yeah. 哦，没事没事，没关系反正我们以后会慢慢读的我觉得这个怎么讲呢？就是以后肯定会有其他的那个其他的文本的。反正我们讲语法的话，也会以后也会慢慢讲，就是边读边讲。OK。I think it's just a writing，就是这个双写单写，我觉得应该是一种写法的问题。是 ，OK， 应该就是写法的问题。OK。OK， 好，不客气。那要不今天就这样，然后大家OK，summary。Yes, I probably I give a summary. Yeah. Okay, so very brief summary. 4501年，神奇，好啊。Okay, so before we stop, let's make a brief summary. So today we'll talk about the Latin perfect and imperfect. So actually, Latin perfect, we have at least two very important Indo-European categories. The first one is the so-called reduplicated perfect, and we have it in a lot of Latin words, right? And we can check the book by Michael Weiss. So actually, this is a very important category in Latin, the so-called reduplicated perfect. Peuk, we have pupugi, and peg, we have pepigi, and stech, we have steti, right? And another important category is the so-called S-perfect. And S-perfect goes back to the Proto-Indo-European S-aorist. But compared with the S-aorist, there are two differences. The first one, in Latin, there is no augment. So veho, present, perfect, vexi. Vexi does not have an augment, right? But the corresponding Sanskrit aorist has an augment. Another one is the ending. In Latin, the ending is the perfect, the normal perfect ending. But in Sanskrit, it is the aorist ending. It's historically aorist, right? So there are actually two changes in Latin. The loss of augment, right? The loss of augment and the usage, the use of perfect ending. Okay. And then we talk about a third category, which is very productive in Latin. It's a so-called, wait a minute. It's a so-called verb or word perfect. And this word and verb perfect, the origin is difficult. We cannot really, the origin is difficult to find. We have amo, amavi, and gnosko, gnovi. And some of and some would like to connect the Vedic tasthau, dadau, Vedic form with the Latin perfect, but it is a little bit problematic. And some, like Gerhard Meiser, he want to explain this bhuh as coming from a very common verb called bhuh, right? So you have the reduplication and then you have fufu. And fufu would look like containing a ver element. and this the element is generalized to other forms. 对，就是通过一个非常常见的词，然后由它的形式，然后再扩展到其他的形式。And another explanation offered by Rix, and who wants to explain this what element as coming from the participle, the perfect participle. Okay, but you can see it's a little bit disputed. Yeah. Okay, and then we talk about the imperfect. The imperfect in Latin is marked by the bar form, and we have already checked it. And behind this bar form, more basic is the R morpheme. So this R morpheme, you find it in eram, the B, how to say that, the copula verb. Yeah. And then we read some lines from the inscription, and we will continue reading next time. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention until now, and we will see. So see you next. Next time. I think it's Saturday. Yeah. Okay. So see you Saturday. Yeah. 不客气。OK， 好，那大家那个晚上have a good night and have a good week. OK， 拜拜。OK， 再见啊，大家再见。OK， 不客气。OK， 好。OK， 好，那我就暂停会议，然后把那个传过去。OK。